I could see
Yeah.
it.
Oh, probably.
Very happy
Yeah.
to see it, coach.
Yes,
Yeah,
likewise.
we're about to be live, guys.
11:30.
What happened?
We're about to be live.
Okay.
Let me know when.
Jonathan is still alive. I could see it.
We're live.
Very happy to see it.
We
Yo,
are
li-
live.
We're live right now. Woo! Good job, everyone. Erica, we got Coach Erica in the house. Thank you for your assistance. Thank you for helping me and Coach Kenny out. We got Coach Kenny in the house right now. Kenny, what's going on?
Here, man. We're ready to analyze some games.
All right, good job. Nothing for those who don't know me, I'm Coach Alex. I'm happy to be here today analyzing some games. Hopefully, we're gonna make this popping. Hopefully, we're gonna make those games, see what's been going on in our ICN chess community. I've seen a lot of action throughout the past couple of weeks. I've been seeing a lot of players literally just going at it. I've been watching.
Alex, you're on mute. You're on mute.
So basically, what we're gonna be doing, guys, we're gonna be analyzing our games over 1,000. Um, Nothing. I'm gonna be having Coach Kenny helping me out with those games, and I'm looking forward to see how well you guys playing, how well you guys have been developing your games. Hopefully, for this section, um, over 1,000. The first game I'm going to be looking at is one of the kids that's one of the most promising kids from PS 77, Elliot Gurvich. Hopefully, we are going to be able to see those games and we're going to get a feel of understanding what's going on through his head, right, Coach Kenny?
For sure. Yeah. Let's start taking a look at some of the games that we have going on over here.
Definitely. Sounds good. The first game I'm going to be looking at is Elliot Gurvich against Oliver. Oh, Oliver from PS 11. Wow, this game is going to be super fascinating. Let's see. Oliver is he's a good player though. He likes to play Sicilian defense. And now one of the things I'm watching on the opening itself is the first move he made is C5. Very interesting position though. C5 is an opening that basically helps you control the C square. In addition, if you look at it, it controls D4, D4 and B4. So one of the best moves on a game, a lot of the games throughout the chess history is with C5. And today we're gonna see that. Um, Coach Kenny, one of the moves that Elliot Virchwood did is knight f3. Very normal classical move with concepts because he's trying to break on D4. The move is to break on D4. And again, that's one of the best possible plans in any opening, right, Coach Kenny?
For sure, yeah. So for the Sicilian, one of the main things as well is that, well, if you're playing as black and you're playing the Sicilian, there's a few ways to go about it. One of them is the dragon, which is one of the most famous ones, right? So we have like the moves such as like G6, Bishop G7, which is guarding the dark squares, such as D4 and E5. So what white needs to do right away is actually try to fight back in the dark squares by playing a move such as D4, like you recommended. So yeah, D4 is definitely a move that should be played immediately. If not, then black really gets a strong grip on the dark squares.
Definitely, like Coach Kenny was saying, there's a lot of ways to play the Sicilian defense. One of the best possible lines that you could play in the Sicilian, we got Nardov, is very famous throughout chess. We got the dragon. Personally, I'm a dragon expert. I like playing the dragon variation. That's one of my favorite openings. I teach a lot of my kids to play the dragon because it's very interesting. And again, like Coach Kenny was saying, it takes a very hard grip on the dark squares on G6, G7, all those dark squares you see the whole diagonal, it's just take a good grip. So let's see how Elliot Gurvich and Oliver play this opening because again, this is not an easy opening. This is very difficult. And like Coach Kenny was saying, D4 is one of the best possible moves because if we let black control the whole diagonal, well, white is going to be in trouble. So Gurvich played D4, and the best possible move is take. I teach and a lot of my variations that I had teach throughout the program. Taking is the best option because as you notice, you this is a potential open file. So again, that's a good way to just take advantage of an open file once you're able to develop your bishop on C8. So after knight takes back, G6, very good response. Again, there's certain ways of playing the dragon. This is what we called the accelerated dragon because you don't play d5 right away. So instead, he plays knight c3, maintaining, having a tight grip on the central square, controlling d5 and e4, right, coach?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, knight c3, just maintaining, developing a piece. And actually, one of White's plans in the very beginning is to castle queenside and start a little bit of a kingside attack. So, you know, knight c3 with the idea of bishop e3, queen d2, and just castle queenside. So, you know, knight c3 is just getting a little bit prepared for that queenside castle.
Definitely. So right now, knight c3 is a good response because, like Coach Kenny was saying, White's plan is basically to just develop his queenside pieces and castle all the way on the queenside. So again, this is very normal concept chess, bishop g7. So the best response here is to just basically play bishop e3. Bishop e3, what it does is bishop e3 is controlling the knight in d4. It develops a very strong piece, and at the same time, it prepares your queen to move so you can castle queenside. So Gilbert played bishop e3, and again, I'm very surprised. I'm not surprised that he's playing the correct moves because again, this opening is very advanced. So after knight f6, again, like I was saying, Oliver's playing what we call the accelerated dragon. He hasn't played d6 yet. He wants to try to break on d5. Hopefully, d5 is too aggressive, but you never know. Stuff can happen. After playing f3, guys, f3 is a very solid move. That shows me a lot about Elliot's game. F3 is a very good technical move because it helps you to protect e4, and it maintains a strong grip on the central squares. Like, it stops the knight from going to all the way g4, and at the same time, there's no tricks on e4. So after castle is queen d2, and again, we're still on the main theory, but it could get very crazy once black plays b6. But the main line in this position, guys, is d5. d5 is a very strong move because it opens the center, and at the same time, it has a lot of flexibility moving your queen out and just bringing your rook to d8. So, Coach Kenny, after b6, what do you think about b6? Coach, you're mute.
Oh, sorry.
So, yeah, don't worry about it. What do
Sorry.
you think about b6 in that position?
So the plan with b6 is definitely he's trying to get his bishop out to b7. I guess he was just trying to figure out a way to bring out his light square bishop, but definitely d5. I definitely think he should have played that, and you know, with that idea in mind, the bishop can come out as well. But b6, like I said, I'm not really a Sicilian player myself. I don't usually play e4, but I do think that I mean, it's a move. You know, it's a move here. So the only thing he does need to be careful about is, you know, if he castles and knight takes c6, if bishop b7 isn't played fast enough, then he might lose material. But I mean, it looks pretty much fine here. It's not like, you know, losing move here.
Yeah, of course, b6. Well, it's not the most common move. Again, you have to be careful if white castles all the way to queenside because again, this game could get a little bit crazy. You lose a piece. But after castling queenside, like Coach Kenny was saying, knight now could take knight, and if pawn takes, d7 takes, white is basically winning a whole piece up. So you have to be careful of those little tricks because those little tricks, it could be very devastating on any chess game, especially losing a piece early on in a game. So right now, what we're going to be seeing is bishop b7. Oliver played very good in this position because even though it could be a little bit tricky, he played the correct move on a position like this because if knight would have taken here, it just would have been very difficult. So right now, let's see how Elliot plays. Bishop c4, very normal concept. It helps you develop your bishop. It maintains a strong grip on, it went all the way out, guys. Sorry for that. Bishop c4, what it does is it controls a very strong grip on the whole diagonal between d5 and attacks f7. So it could be very tricky. Again, this type of position on a Sicilian, especially in the dragon variation, it could get very tricky. And after e6, Coach Kenny, wow, e6, it looks very crazy right now.
Yeah, e6 is a little bit complicated because now, as you know, there's a little bit of weaknesses on the dark squares. Like, you know, now he does need to be careful about the knight going to b5 and to d6, and then the knight would become, as some authors call it, an octopus, when the knight gets a d6, the octopus, you know, the knight has 8 different squares all around it. And that's what octopus has, right? The 8 tentacles. So it's like, you know, if the knight gets there, it'll be very dangerous for black. So black needs to definitely try to push for d5 immediately. So it looks like he's trying to do it as of right now. But it looks like it's about to be a little bit dangerous here for black.
Of course, guys. And again, I'm sorry for that. But this kind of position, it could get very complicated, like Coach Kenny was saying. In a position like this, you know, E6 is a move that basically, you know, it weakens your position. I understand Oliver's plan. His plan is to play d5. And again, it's not a bad move. Playing d5 is not a bad move, but he has to be aware of the way he just create weaknesses on the dark squares. Like right now, the best possible move was to play knight b5 and just maintain a strong grip on those dark squares. But let me see what Elliot Goodrich played in this position.
Also, wait, sorry to cut you off, Alex. But also, the thing that Oliver needs to worry about the most here is that if d5 is played, and the pawn captures and they capture each other stuff in the middle, the problem is that even if everything looks fine for black after the pawn captures, the thing is that black actually has an isolated pawn on d5, and the knight is already on d4. We already have a knight on d4 that's kind of blockading the pawn from going down. So, you know, the fact that black would have an isolated pawn is not such a great idea, especially how white has the queen and the rook already lined up in the file. So that's something else that he needs to keep in mind when you make these kind of moves. Like getting isolated pawns in the endgame is pretty tough to, you know, protect when you have less pieces.
Definitely. And like Coach Kenny was saying, that d5, even though, you know, I don't, you know, again, d5 will be the most natural move in their position if you want to try to hold it. But it creates, as you know, a lot of weaknesses that white can eventually exploit. So e6 bishop b3, very normal move. Again, I like the position here for either both. If I have to choose realistically, I like white because the fact of the matter is he's maintaining a very strong short grip in the dark squares. But you never know. This game, you know, black has a lot of flexibilities, like rook c8, stuff like that. You know, again, this game could go both ways. Knight takes, very fascinating. Knight takes, and you know, again, has a lot of different ideas. I don't know if that's the correct line. Like, let's go back to that move. Again, we had to look for the best response possible. I think normally, I mean, I'd rather just play in this position, knight a5, knight a5, and as you know, and try to just take this bishop, because once you take that bishop, you can just play you can just play d5, and that's going to be perfectly normal for black. Because at the end of the day, the bishop h6 is not a big threat, because that's very normal in any dragon variation. But I think the best possible move is 95, right, Kenny?
Yeah, I like knight a5 a lot because not only unmasks the bishop on b7 that's kind of blocked by its own knight, but by playing knight a5, you're attacking his light square bishop, which is kind of stopping you from playing this move like d5. So like if you get to remove one of the defenders, which is the bishop on b3, now d5 becomes a little bit more stronger, and now you can do things like knight takes after, for example, after d5, if pawn on e takes d5, you could do knight takes and then bishop takes and queen takes. So like, you know, now you have a lot of things to take on d5. So by, you know, moving the knight to a5 and capturing on b3, like again, like I said, you're unmasking the bishop, and now you have another, you know, defender for d5. So I really like the move knight to a5.
Definitely. Knight f5, like Coach Kenny was saying, that, you know, it unmasks the bishop on b7. And at the same time, you can maintain a better grip on the central squares once you play d5, guys.
Oh,
So nothing.
also, So also one thing I wanted to mention was that with the idea of knight a5, I also like the move rook c8 right afterwards. You know, to control the c file after rook, you know, after knight a5, rook c8, for example. You do have ideas, you know, if you want to play like knight c4, or like, you know, you do have some sacrifices you may potentially have, like rook takes c3 eventually, not in this exact position, but, you know, you just start creating some threats. And that is something that white has to think about throughout the game. You know, with the rook on c8, you really have to keep in mind what is going on. And, you know, if you're playing as white, you really have to just keep, you know, all that pressure on your mind saying, you know, he always has rook takes c3. So, you know, little things like that make a big impact psychologically when you're playing chess.
Definitely. Like Coach Kenny was saying, Rook C8 is a very normal move, especially when you're playing the Sicilian defense. And again, let's keep going. Knight takes. Very interesting. I'm not a big fan of it. Knight F5, I think, was better. But let's see. Bishop takes and D5. Ooh, he went directly to break through on the center. Very normal. I think this it could be a little bit tricky because in this position, white has a very strong grip on the central squares. Like, for example, a pawn push, not the best move, but the best possible move is to just e4 takes d5, and basically white is winning this position because either they take with the knight, black can just take back with the bishop, king takes, and trade all your pieces in the center, and you win a pawn. Or you could just maintain even a better tight grip on this position. But e5 seems very logical, doesn't seem bad. If e5 seems logical, you're going to play f4, knight d7, and rook e1. Let's discuss a little bit about rook e1, guys. Let me explain to you something that's very principal on any opening, especially if you're playing Sicilian or if you're playing against the Sicilian. And this is specific position. What's the first thing that we're going to look at the board? The way that the pieces are developed. For example, we got a very strong bishop on d4. We got a bishop on d3. We got knight c3. We got plans of playing h4 as white and starting the attack early on in the game. We noticed that this bishop is not playing, guys. So we either had to maintain a very strong grip on the position. So the best possible move, sorry, the best possible move here as white is to just play f4. f4 is a move that it controls the e5 square and at the same time protects. And then you could just go where you're planning on playing h4 and h5, guys. Right, coach?
Yeah, I like the move f4. At the same time, I kind of like the move rook on d to e1 because, if they decide to play a move like f6 to try to, break open your pawn structure, you can just simply just take on f6 and now you're putting pressure on e6. I like f4, but the thing is that, at some point, the bishop on d4 may move and, they might have the light squares across the diagonal. So I don't know. I like f4, but I also like to move rook on d to e1 just to keep that pressure on e6 at all times. So, yeah, but you definitely, like Coach Alex was saying, you definitely want to keep the rook on the h file just so you have the h4, h5 advance. And the reason why I like f3 to stay there is because after h4, and if they play the move h5, you have the move g4. So now you're really ripping open their king side. So that's why I kind of like the pawn on f3. But I don't agree. I mean, I don't disagree with you with the move of f4. I just like a little rook d to e1 a little bit better.
Again, guys, there's a lot of ways to just proceed on any attack possible. F3 is a move that very principal because you can play g4 at any given point in time. But again, rook h to e1 is not the best response because you can just play, again. Oh, sorry, guys. So this kind of move, it could be very tricky. But, like Coach Kenny was saying, look, he played f6 right away. So he went through directly breaking. But like Coach Kenny was saying, now e6 becomes a very weak square. It could be something it could be a downfall for the position. But let's see. Takes, knight takes, very normal, and bishop and rook takes e6. Wow. So now, everything is getting a little bit complicated, guys, because now white is winning a pawn up. Black has a weakness on d5, an isolated pawn. A bishop that's basically not playing, and there's a lot of ways to just capitalize in this position.
Yeah, right now, actually. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, coach. Tell me.
So right now, also, like with rook takes e6, you're threatening to take on b6 with the bishop and the rook, and black cannot advance on 8 to a4. It looks like it's trapping the bishop, but you have the bishop and the knight defending a4. So it looks like right now black is in a little bit of in disarray, meaning like all of his pieces are not really in, it's not cohesive right now. So black kind of needs to figure out a way to defend all of this at the same time. Let's see what he plays after. Oh, sorry, he played a4, actually. I'm a little bit ahead. I mean A5. So
A5, guys, so nothing. A5, not a big fan because now rook could take B6. We noticed we got a rook, strong rook attacking B6 plus the bishop. You know, this again, there's a lot of stuff going on. But Elliot did the very interesting one. I don't agree with that bishop take because you're giving me the strong bishop. I can still just try to play and sacrifice, get a little bit creative. Bishop takes normal in the position, guys. This is very normal. So after bishop takes, queen takes. Now this position could get a little bit, complicated, guys, because we noticed that the queen is attacking the other queen. Plus, we got a potential check at the same time, a discover check. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this position, guys. So the best possible ways to proceed as black is to take the knight. I agree with that. Taking the knight, queen takes, and just trade rooks, trade everything and go into an end game that's going to be, even though it's going to be better for white, but black still has chances though. Even though it's 2 pawns down, you can try to look for the best response. Oh, snap. After king f7, the rook took on b6, Coach Kenny. So
Yeah.
now it's a decisive
Rook-
position.
yeah, here rook takes b6, and white is just all around winning. For example, on the king side, white has a pawn majority, 3 versus 2. And then now we're looking at another pawn majority on this side, which is 3 versus 2. However, we do have double pawns on the c file, so white has a little bit of a problem there. But at the same time, with those passed pawns, it creates a little bit of distraction. So all white needs to do is try to figure out how to win the a5 pawn, and from there, I think white should just win the game pretty easily from there.
Of course, and again, this position, it's a good example of how to proceed in the Sicilian defense. Again, in the Sicilian defense in the opening, you have to play right away d6. E6, it's not the best possible move. You just play d6 and maintain the grip. So after rook c8, king b2, king e7, and this is just basically a wrap, guys. This is a better example of, again, a misplayed move on an opening. If and I'm not saying, you kids, again, you guys play pretty precise to a certain point. Again, there's ways of playing this opening. And, one of the best possible ways is, don't forget, Oliver, whenever you're playing this kind of opening, you should play right away d6. Instead of e6, d6 on the opening, on the dragon, is, again, very, very normal. This endgame is just basically winning for white. But that was a great game for Elliot Gervich. He played super great. Oliver, you played great as well. I'm proud of you. Again, that was a great game. So, who are we gonna be looking now? What
So
game are you gonna look now, Coach Kenny?
I definitely want to check out Shading's game. So if you go back, take a look at Shading's first game.
Where is he? I don't see him.
I believe he placed second place in the tournament.
Shading from PS59.
Yes.
Good job. All right, let's go check that game.
Yeah.
wanna-
So I used to actually be in PS59 last year on Mondays. So I did have Shading for some time. So that's why I'm interested. I think he's in 5th grade now or 4th grade. I'm not so sure, but he has made some improvements. So I haven't seen his game in a while. So that's why I was so interested in checking out this game. So let's take a look. He's playing black here. We have we have Mana also.
We got Mana from PS33, the legendary Monarch. Monarch is a strong player from PS33.
Yeah, another student that I had as well. So that we taught in PS33. So I love this matchup. Let's take a look at what happened here.
Definitely. And again, that's one of the strongest kids that Coach Angel has at PS33, besides having Whitney, having Rosie, having a lot of other strong kids. He's one of the upcoming kids. I think he's in 4th grade, right? Monarch, 4th or 5th?
Yeah.
4th.
Yeah, he's around 3rd, 4th grade. Yeah.
So let's look. Monarch is a very tactical player. I like the way he plays because he reminds me of myself when I used to play like very into like crazy tactical games. He plays the Grand Prince and everything. So
Yeah.
E4, E5, very normal standard move. So knight F3, nice E6, very classical. Bishop C4. Oh, he's going into a very crazy game, Italian. And a very boring game as well, because the Italian, if you don't play dynamic, it could turn crazy. So, all right, bishop c5, very normal. Again, best response for Shading, because at knight f6. We don't want to get into to the little trick we got with knight g4. What is it?
Knight G5, yeah.
Oh, knight g5. What is it? I forgot the name of it.
I'm not sure what the name is, but yeah, this happens a ton of times. This happens almost every single tournament that I've seen where you know, the knight f6 mistake happens. So, you know, if you're watching this and you don't know it, this is a good time to learn from somebody else's mistakes, and you know,
Exactly.
play the move bishop c5 instead, because knight f6 would hurt you in a tournament with knight g5.
Exactly. It could get very crazy. So c3, very normal. I like the way he's playing knight f6. d4. Ooh, he's going aggressive. He's breaking through, and I like that. That's very normal. Pawn takes e5. Now, this is a position that I play this a lot, and I usually get this type of position. e5 is normal, but the best response here for black is to play d5. d5 is very aggressive. If attacks the bishop, and at the same time attacking the bishop, you know, it's very aggressive. I'm forced to just waste some time. Exactly, with tempo. So, oh, knight g8. This position could turn out very, very crazy, right, coach?
Yeah, it's usually not so great to return the knight. But I guess he didn't see any other moves, but you know, it's going to be a little bit difficult for black to get back into development. So let's see what happens.
Definitely. So at the pawn takes, we're gonna play in this position. Bishop b4 check, right? So very normal check. You know, I had to look for a tempo. Knight c3, knight e7. Oh, but now the winning position here, to be honest, queen b3 is not the most aggressive one. Monica, if you're watching this, hopefully I want to see you once I get back to PS33. We're going to discuss this in person. Queen b3 is not bad, but it's not the best one. The best one in this position is to play knight g5. Knight g5 wins basically because the thing about knight g5 is that black cannot play d5 because you got en passant, and you're gonna fork him all the way on f7. And if knight g5, guys, let's say your opponent castles, you're gonna play queen h5, winning the game. Queen h5 wins the game after playing h6, knight takes on f7. You're basically winning the position, right, Coach Kenny?
Yeah, this is basically over, right? Like knight g5, queen h5, h6. Then you have knight takes. You're threatening to take the queen, and you know, if he doesn't, then you win the exchange. And yeah, it just gets very messy from there.
Exactly. So let's keep looking. Queen b3, and you know, again, it's not a bad move, but there's certain ways that you can proceed in any position. So takes, good job. And bishop d2 is not bad. But again, you have to look for more tactical ways. One of the most aggressive on this position, guys, is just play bishop g5. Go for it, bishop g5. Bishop g5 or bishop a3, it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Me personally, like when I have the bishop on c1, you actually have a ton of good squares here. You have like bishop a3, you have bishop g5. You may even think about bishop f4 at some point. I mean, kind of, because you want to stop d6 in a sense. But you have basically my saying is that the bishop has a lot of moves. And for the fact of the matter is, you actually just want to castle in this position and wait to see what black is going to play. So like if you castle here, for example, and then, you know, eventually you can get to those moves like bishop a3, for example, like in a sense, you don't really know exactly where you want the bishop, but I do like bishop g5 exactly from the start. Bishop g5 and if h6 just bring the bishop back. But yeah, in a sense, you have that move and castles.
Well, again, bishop g5 is a normal move that we will do, me and Coach Kenny. We know that for a fact because it's it's a good way to develop. But guys, let's not forget that black has a very strong move like knight a5. Knight a5 is just a move that can hurt the position, because the only thing that's keeping us from having an advantage on this position is the bishop as white. So nothing. Bishop d2, d6, pawn takes, queen takes. And this game looks like it's almost getting to a point where it's going to be equal. So after castling, knight a5, the move that we discussed.
He played the move.
Knight A5. So after queen B4 takes, in this position, to be honest, this position, black is slightly better in this position right now.
Yeah, black is starting to come back alive, especially with the tempo. Like chess is all about tempo, and you see how after the bishop came into e6 with tempo, the fact is that black actually has a pretty good position and doesn't really have any weaknesses if you look at it. And white actually has, d4 and c3. And at the moment, they're both defended, but c3 could be a serious target. And if the c3 pawn is ever pushed, then the d4 becomes a target. So, I like black as well because he doesn't really have weaknesses here in this position.
Definitely, black is super solid right now. So after queen d3, bishop f5, queen d5, takes, and this is just very normal position. And again, after trading rooks, this is just a good position for black because we're maintaining the strong tie of the pawns. We have better positions. We controlling right now basically c3, if c4, knight b6, and I'm attacking to the pawn of c4. So we got a very, very strong coordination of the pieces on this position. After trading rooks, knight takes, we putting pressure.
So I want to stop right there. Yeah. So here what I was looking at. So here, I like the move knight b6 with the idea of coming into c4 because, one of the biggest things that you want to think about when you're playing in the endgame is look at what color bishop he has. He has what? A dark squared bishop, right? And he has a knight as well. But you have two pieces that can go to light squares. You have the knight and you have the bishop. So what you want to do is you definitely want to put the knight on b6 to come to c4, which would actually be attacking both pieces, the bishop and the pawn on a3. And once the knight gets into that square, you're literally putting a lot of pressure in white's position. And, it's not going to be so easy for white to play from here.
Of course, this position, knight b6, I agree with Coach Kenny. This position, knight b6, it maintains a strong grip on c4. And you can just take advantage of the light squares. Right now, bishop f5 doesn't look bad, but it doesn't maintain like a strong grip on the position, guys. Knight f3, king f7. It looks normal, this position. Oh, knight g5, looking for tactics. But again, I can just protect. Oh my God, knight b6, losing a piece. After c4, it's just this position now looks a little bit complicated. Well, not complicated. It looks, wow, it looks bad for black. And again, you lose a piece. Let's go back when we play knight bishop g6 in this position. Even when they played knight f3, knight g5, guys, in this position, the best possible move in this position is to play f6 with the tempo, f6. Bishop g6, I don't consider it as a very productive move because you have to look for tempos like Coach Kenny was talking earlier. And the game of chess, it's all about looking for tempos. And a move like f6, it just win a tempo, guys. And even in this position would have been gorgeous when let's go a little bit back, when the king went all the way to e2. The best possible move in this position, guys, if you want to take advantage of a position like this, is to just pin the knight and trade pieces. Play bishop g4 and pin, right, Coach Kenny? And trade pieces.
Yeah, that's definitely, you always want to keep your opponent on your toes. So bishop g4 definitely puts that pressure. And, you always want to, like I said, keep the pressure on them, and eventually they're going to make a mistake. So bishop g4 is definitely a move.
Definitely. And again, that move, bishop g6, is just, I don't know, it could be a little bit tricky. Knight b6, lose a piece after c4, king c6, take the pawn, and king b6. Now, even though right now black is basically a piece down for a pawn, well, he could try to look for something because he still got the upside on the queen side, the majority of the pawns on the queen side. So the best way to proceed is to keep going. F3, king c6, knight e4, and after king d4, let's see what we play here. Oh, bishop e3, Coach Kenny, what you think about bishop e3 there?
Yeah, he loses the pawn here, so it gets a little bit messy here, especially now that if white is able to win that pawn on e4 and I see a little bit afterwards, like move maybe 2 moves later. So after bishop e3 takes, go a few like 2 moves ahead. Yeah. So after this, and then he plays the move. So here, black is obviously still winning, but then he plays this move d5. So let's take a look at d5.
D5. All right,
Yeah,
D5.
here, yeah. So d5 here, like the thing is now black may even have some chances here because after a6, you're taking on d5, and now black has those 3 pawns versus 1. White should definitely still win, but he just made it a little bit more complicated for himself actually. So
Of course, this position, again, like Coach Kenny was saying, black has a lot of compensation. It's 3 pawns against a piece, guys. It's, this is one of those positions that this position is very uncertain. But in a sense, black has a lot of resources right now because he can just proceed. And to be honest, my opinion is basically, or black might win or it could be a draw. That's realistically, Coach. That is the truth. That's the way I see it right now. So let's see what happened. King e3, g6, bishop f4, not c6, guys. If you want to try to win, force a win, go play c5. You have to play aggressive. Try to just expand your queen side. c6 is not the best move. You have to play c5 and go aggressive. If h4, h5, all right, sounds normal. Let's go back. F5, not a best move, guys. Again, we have to just force it. Play C5. C5 is a move that you just want to just go in. C5 and B4. And hopefully, once we make that king go all the way up, you can just infiltrate the position and try to take the pawns all the way in the king side, right, Coach Kenny?
yeah, for sure.
And after F5, well, bishop A5, C5. C5 again, now we are a little bit late because white played bishop A5, stopping our plan of playing B4. But let's see how they play. F5 check. And we coming in, Coach Kenny. We coming in. So what
Yeah.
you think about this position, Coach?
Like I said, black has a lot of chances here. Like with the 3 versus 2 over there, and then the bishop on e1 has to stay guarding both sides. Has to stay guarding c3 and the pawn on g3. So, like I said, this is getting pretty intense here. So let's see what happens.
Of course. Oh, coming up, King F. Oh, C3. Let's see how Monarch is going to play this position. Very interesting because after F5, we can just keep pushing. And let's see what happened. Let me scroll a little bit down, guys.
Yeah, the bishop is not going to be able to guard both sides. So that's the problem here in this position. So it looks like he resigned after this move, F3. So yeah, maybe the thing is that the king, the problem was that the king, white's king, Monarch, he brought the king all the way to try to capture the pawn on a6. When instead, white should actually be playing the defensive side. He just needs to keep his king close on both sides, and he needs to kind of keep the bishop there guarding both sides as well. So, maybe moving the king like on d3 to e3, going back and forth, and, leaving the bishop there. And I think from there, it would definitely be a draw.
Definitely.
Go a little bit ahead. So right here, this is the position. So basically, if they play c4, you just simply, keep the king on maybe you can move the king to e3, and then at some point maybe you can even jump all the way to g6. Well, it's not really possible, but I don't know. Actually, it is possible.
Well, it's a possibility. King e3 in this position. After c4, king e3 I think it's the best position ever to play that position, guys.
Yeah, because the thing is that what, black cannot play any pawn move up on the queen side. He cannot do a5 because he'll get captured. He cannot do b4, or he cannot even do c3. So the thing is that you are actually stopping everything on the queen side, and you can maybe go all the way to the king side and start gathering some pawns, capture on g6, h5, and then start moving the h pawn down. There might be enough time to stop it. I didn't calculate too deeply, to be honest with you guys, but it looks like it's a plan here.
Yeah, it's a good plan. But again, this position, again, is very complicated because at the end of the day, black has 3 pawns compensating for the piece. And a very good game for both sides. For Monarch, he played pretty good. Shading, Good game, man, from PS59. He surprised us. He basically surprised me, you know, beating Monarch. Monarch is a great player for PS33. So again, good game shooting and Monarch, that was a great, excellent game. So coach, let's view out another game. Let me see who we got here besides. Let me see. Oh, we got Chloe from PS33. Let me see who else we got here. We got Monarch Maxwell from PS33. I want to see Matt. Matt is an upcoming kid from PS33. Again, the way that this kid has been playing, surprisingly, his brother, Matt Stringler, and his brother, they've been doing so great. Again, we're gonna analyze this game from the get-go because I want to be sure the way that they play. He's a very
So
good player, man.
yeah, so before anything, Erica, I know I think she's still here. I was wondering if like you can read the comments and see like if anybody has been commenting. I'm
Yeah.
just kind of curious because I can't see any of the comments. I was wondering if you could maybe show us the comments.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
but with that being said, you can continue and we could continue going on with
So
Maxwell's game.
definitely. So right now, what we're doing is in this position is they play D5, right? Match is playing D5, and I'm not a big fan of the Scandinavian opening, but again, it has a lot of resources in the position because you can just bring your knight, or you can just take early on with your queen, but it could get a little bit messy after knight f6, bishop c4, knight takes, knight f3. Again, very normal concept move the way that they're playing, and he's playing Christopher from PS11. I know Christopher; he's an excellent student, an excellent chess player. He's an upcoming student for PS11. He's doing great. And this is something very normal, again, because he's actually developing the proper way and he's doing super great. At the bishop f5, again, it could get tricky, Coach Kenny. What you think of that position? Because bishop f5, I'm not a big fan of bishop f5.
Yeah, I think when you're playing the Scandinavian, I'm like you said, I'm not really such a big fan of the Scandinavian, and the reason is because it kind of breaks some of the principles. Some of the principles is you're moving a piece a lot of times. You're moving the queen sometimes a lot. For example, if bishop takes d5, and then the queen comes down to the middle, so things like that. But getting back to this position, I think that black should be playing something like c6, and then I think the main plan is like c6 and getting the queen to like a5, and then e6, and then just simply castling and things like that. You kind of want to get the queen to a5, which is kind of putting pressure on the king. And then there is one like idea where you get the queen from a5 all the way to h5. So like that's some of the ideas I've seen with the Scandinavian. I'm not too sure what's the plan, to be honest, but that's what I see from a lot of the Grandmaster games.
Yeah, definitely. So again, this position, it can get a little bit tricky. Bishop f5, I'm not saying it's a bad move, it's a normal, but there's a lot of ways to proceed, especially when you're playing this kind of opening. You can just play c5, you can play knight c6, e6, just a lot of different variations, especially when you're playing an opening like this. But bishop f5 is normal. D3,
Oh.
I love D3.
There's actually a game that I seen with Magnus Carlsen. I believe he was able to move his queen to d6. It kind of stops the move bishop to f4, and with queen d6, I believe he had a very good game with queen d6. The knight, I think, returned back to f6 and things like that. Yeah, so that's another idea that we can maybe look into next time.
Definitely. I see someone, hey, ICN online on the house. Good job, Coach Russ, everyone. So nothing, guys, we're gonna keep reviewing, we're gonna keep analyzing this variation, especially in the Scandinavian. I love playing players when they play D3, very normal, good concept. Again, very tight. I should have preferred D4. D4 controls has a better grip on the central squares. But again, guys, the way that I play is this type of positions, D3. I love D3. So after knight c6, we're gonna castle. Guys, the thing about castling is guys, the position can get a little bit tricky. The thing about castling is that black now can play bishop g4 and just pinning the knight. And with ideas of knight going to d4 and just basically attacking, guys. So I'm not a big fan of castling. But again, it's not bad, but you have to just be mindful of how the white is going to proceed, especially as black is gonna proceed, especially when he has a lot of resources, right, Coach Kenny?
Yeah, black has a ton of resources. Yeah, he definitely needs to. Yeah, he needs to be a little bit worried about here. Like, well, black needs to try to find a way to castle as quickly as possible. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. It looks like he may even think about castling queenside. I don't know. It looks like a plan. Maybe knight b6, e6, queen d7, and then castle queenside. So something like that. Yeah, let's continue. Let's see what's going on.
Definitely, guys, definitely. So nothing. Knight e6. Castling is good. E6, guys. E6 very normal, standard in any opening. E6 actually helps you develop your bishop all the way to d6. Try to look for tactics. The best way to proceed on any game is to always look for tactics, guys. So after, ooh, bishop takes, Coach Kenny. What do you think about that kind of move?
So one of the things that I like to say sometimes is sometimes to take it's a mistake. That's a line that we like to say sometimes. So the reason why we say that take is a mistake is because if you were to capture, which is what happened in this position, you actually help black develop a piece into the game. And even though white can play the move like knight c3 after and also develop, you're still giving up a bishop pair. And, bishop pairs are very important to, especially in the end game, the bishop pair. So, yeah, bishop takes d5. You definitely need to be thinking about bishop pair. And also one thing I need to comment about is if you ever give up a bishop pair, you need to make sure you're making some kind of weaknesses in your opponent's position. But if you do bishop takes d5, you're actually not creating any kind of weaknesses. So yeah, that's something you guys need to think about. When you're giving up a bishop pair, create a weakness, okay?
Exactly, guys. Like Coach Kenny was saying, basically in this position, what White did is basically gave his strong bishop for a knight that is not doing nothing on d5. So the plan here for Black is to take with Queen and maintain a strong, strong grip on the knight f3, because once Black is able to pin the knight on f3 and bring his other knight on c6 to d4 or e5, it's just going to be very difficult for white to defend. So right now, after queen takes, again, good job for Mats, because Mats actually understands what's going on in the position. After queen
Oh,
takes,
so
yeah,
I
coach.
just yeah, so here I just I went a little bit ahead, and I saw that black actually. Oh, Max, I believe Max is playing black, right?
Yeah.
I saw Max play the move queen to d8. Let's go move ahead. So what do you think about this move queen to d8?
Well, queen d8, I'm not a big fan of queen d8. I think there's a lot of other ways to just proceed on any position. Queen d8 is a move that is, again, it's not bad. It's not the best one. I would have rather play queen b7, because it helps you just prepare yourself to castle all the way on the queen side, guys. You have to keep aware that you have to look for squares. They're very vital for any position. By making a move like queen d8, again, you just basically giving your opponent a free tempo.
So yeah, and also a thing that you need to do when you're making a move in chess is that another line that I came up with is if it doesn't make sense, then you're not playing chess. That's a line that I just made up. I said it to my students. I always tell them if it doesn't make sense, then you're not playing chess. So like think about it like this. You want to put the queen in the most active square, right? So like let's think about the few moves that the queen has. Well, obviously we could take out a lot of the moves, like queen e4, queen c4, because it just hangs a queen e5. So those things, obviously, you want to stay away from those moves. So here we have a few moves, like we said, queen a5, possibility.
Of course.
We're putting pressure, I guess, on the knight in a sense. And we might be playing queen b6 or something of that nature. Then we have queen d6, which blocks the bishop. So that one also doesn't really make that much sense, because they also may have like knight to b5. And then we have the final two moves, queen d7 or queen d8. Well, by moving the queen back to d8, we're actually stopping ourselves from castling queenside, which may be a possibility. So that leaves us with queen d7 or queen a5. And that's the thought process that, we should be making as a chess player. We should be thinking about all the moves that we have available. And then we should try to come up with which one is the best move. And that is the way, we could, we come up with the move queen d7. With a lot of years of experience and playing, we see the mistakes that we made. So that's why me and Coach Alex were able to come up with like moves like that without kind of thinking about it, because it's like second nature already.
Definitely, guys. So nothing. Like Coach Kenny was saying again, and I think it's a good plan. Right now we notice that white won a tempo attacking the queen, right? So again, we had to look for a best square for that queen. Knight a5, the queen a5, sorry. Again, you isolating your queen all the way and the rim. I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, Coach Kenny was talking about queen d6. Queen d6 is not a bad move. It's an okay move because you can just prepare your bishop on e7 and castle. But the best response here is that we notice that we got the pair of bishops. Black has the pair of bishops. So right now, and we're going to analyze that aspect of the game, Black has the advantage. So we can just play queen d7. But queen d8 is not a move that's very, very good in its nature. So after bishop f4, bishop g4. See, Matt understands what's going on in the position. He understands that he has a very, very strong grip on f3. So right now, what we're going to be doing is after h3, bishop h5. And again, he understands what's going on, Coach Kenny. That's the best thing about chess. This is the beautiful part of chess, that he's comprehending, that he's holding his opponent down on f3.
Yes. So I love this. I love this move, bishop h5. So a lot of times I see after h3, I see a lot of times where they do bishop takes f3. And again, the same concept applies, right? If you take, sometimes when you take, it's a mistake, because the same thing we just saw a few moves ago. When you do bishop takes f3, what are you doing? You are allowing your opponent to get a queen into the game. So by playing this move, bishop h5, you're actually just keeping the pressure, like you're saying. And, another thing about bishop takes f3 is, if you're giving up a bishop, like we keep saying, you must make some kind of weakness. Bishop takes f3 creates no weaknesses. And I think Max understood that, and that's why he played the move bishop h5. So very good move by Max.
Yeah, very good thinking. And again, I'm fascinated with this young upcoming student from History 3 because he's doing so great. And the way he plays, he just broke 1,000 not too long ago recently. And his brother Miles, he's again another kid, very strong tactical player. So right now, the way that we're gonna keep seeing knight b5. Knight b5 is a move that is attacking the pawn on c7, but Black can play any different variation here. Bishop d6, and very good way of thinking, because even though he's losing his pair bishop, but he's straining his center right now. So at the bishop takes, pawn takes, and this is basically good, super good for Black. This is excellent for Black. So after rook e1, a6, knight c3.
Also, sorry to cut you off, but another thing is that by doing c takes d6, you're actually opening up the c file for your rook, and you're also solidifying, the center. So that's a little bit of that's helping out Black in a sense. So now we saw the move knight to d4, very strong move, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like Coach Kenny was saying, I totally forgot about that. Basically, this looks like a Sicilian inverted, basically, because right now, the Black has the advantage on the open file, plus he solidified his center very, very strong. So again, I really enjoyed this kind of position for Black. I mean, to be honest, I'll feel comfortable as Black playing this position right now. And again, Christopher, you play pretty good. But the fact of the matter in the position is that Black is gripping you at f3. So after knight d4, you played the correct move, g4.
Yeah, so here I like the move knight to d5. I mean d4. Yeah, never mind. I was just looking at other moves. Yeah, knight d4 is a good move. I just kind of see that White could play this move g4, and then you kind of have to take on f3 and then queen takes. So that's why I kind of like it and kind of don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. But in this position, again, knight d4, it looks normal, but again, I should have just castled in this position. Why castle? Because we noticed that in this position, if you look at it after g4, black is forced to take. And after queen takes, the b7 pawn is gonna be falling, guys, with tempo. So again, we have to be mindful of the way we're playing this position. G4, knight takes, queen takes, and after bishop G6, oh, he played queen G3. Queen G3 is too passive. You had to be more aggressive, guys. The best response here is queen takes the pawn on B7.
Yeah.
And the thing about taking the pawn on B7 is if they play rook B8, attacking your queen, you'll win a tempo with check. Queen C6 check. So, and you know, this position is super perfect for white. But by playing queen G6, G3 is keeping the position with advantage for white right now, right, coach?
Yeah, it definitely keeps the advantage. So queen takes b7, yeah, and then queen c6, and then white would be favorable there.
Definitely. So right now, let's see. After H, oh, Matt is going aggressive now. H5, pawn takes, rook takes. King G7. Ooh, King G2, huh? What's going on with that move? Let's go a little bit back. After rook takes H5, guys. Now, Christopher did a big mistake in this position. And in this position, again, this position could be very tricky because your king is super exposed. Your king is super exposed. In this position, if we go back when my Max played H5, right now we notice that this position, you know, it could be tough. So the best response is in this position just to be you can play 95 or you could play 94. Again, you have to look for your resources, guys. But by you taking the pawn in H5, you're opening your king. Your king is super exposed in the position after rook takes. So Christopher did a very, you know, a fundamental mistake in the position by playing king G2, Coach Kenny. So after king G2, what's going on? Like, and is black winning the queen here, basically?
Yeah, so black is winning the queen with rook to g5, and then yeah, it's pretty much game over. Yeah, rook to g5, but I see queen g5 was played after this move. So yeah, I think there maybe this is a critical moment of the game. This is where you need to definitely think, how do I finally I opened up the position. If you're playing as black, this is what you should be thinking, right? You open up the position and you should be thinking about, how do I continue to attack? And one thing is, even though, like, you know, queen g5 trades queens, who is the one that's attacking? It's black, right? So if you're playing as black, you want to keep the pieces on the board. So you know, queen g5 shouldn't actually, you should definitely think about like other ways to avoid trading in this position.
Definitely. And again, Matt's did pretty good. Queen G5, again, it's not the best possible move in the position. Rook G5 is better in a sense because Rook G5, what it does is it basically attacks the queen. You're pinning your queen and king, basically. That's what's going on. So Rook G5 would have been a win on the spot, winning Matt quick. So by playing in this position, queen G5, you give white another chance to look for a different plan. So let's keep going. After trade queens, now again, even though we know black is better in this position, you gave a fighting chance for white, Matt. So let's keep looking. King H2, Rook H5, 94, King D6, and knight G3. Again, let me see the way that you're going to proceed in this position because this position can be mad tricky. So after rook H4, ooh, rook G1, and bishop F5. Wow, coach, what you think about that position?
So here, again, you should be looking at weaknesses, right? So the biggest weakness right now for white is the pawn that's sitting right in front of the king, the pawn that's on H3. So you have to think about which one of my pieces is not in the game. well, I have my rook on h4, I have my bishop on g6, it's kind of in the game. And now you need to just swing the last rook into the game, the one that's on a8, swing it all the way to h8. And now you're really putting pressure on h3, and there's no way for white to defend the pawn. So, yeah,
Definitely.
rook on a to h8 is basically winning.
Exactly. In this position, this is very critical because a move like the one that Matt just played, bishop f5, what it does is that it actually helps white. It makes white's position even better. The best move, like Coach Kenny was talking about, is basically move all the way rook from a8 to h8, so we can put pressure on the pawn on h3. And this little friend we got over here right now, guys. So this position again, it could be very tricky, but that's the best response. By playing bishop f5, oh, what happened? By playing bishop f5, you just actually gave white an opportunity to just counterattack. After knight takes, pawn takes, I
And-
take back on g7.
Yeah, and also at the same time, you're opening up the e-file for, for white to basically attack the king. So you need to be very careful here now. So it's like a double-edged sword now. Now both sides have chances.
Of course. So right now, rook and king f6, king g7, and now this position could get a little bit tricky and messy. Because now white, again, after playing doubling the rooks on the file, again, you had to look for the best response. A3, I'm not a big fan. I should have just played in this position c3, because with the idea of a3, you're not doing much. C3, it actually controls d4. And if your opponent plays something like d4 attacking yourself, you could just play c4 and create a passed pawn. So let's keep reviewing. I want to see, but you get a chance, like we were talking about, Coach Kenny. Look at the move. Let me see which move is that one. Move 31 for black. Like we were discussing, black played d4. He literally stopped white's plan of playing c3 and just creating a solid advantage in the position.
Yeah, so here, this is a term in chess that we like to say is called fixing pawn. Like you're fixing the pawn on c2. Because now, know that the pawn on c2 could still move up, but it's not a good idea to move the pawn up to c3 because now black can get rid of his weakness, his isolated pawn. So if white is ever to play the move c3, we take, and then you move the rook all the way from h, and you bring it to the other side, and now those two pawns are really vulnerable. So I can't even say the word now, but you understand what I'm saying.
Well, let's keep looking at it. King d1, rook h, and now, well, you're forcing two opponents to protect and create more weaknesses. Don't get me wrong, this position is very fascinating. You know why? Because even though white is a pawn up, it's not easy to convert. If black plays pretty precise, it can end up being a draw. So let's keep looking. King f1, king e5, f6. Keep controlling. Ooh. This position is the critical one, Coach Kenny. In this position, Max play a move like king f4. And again, king f4, I'm not a big fan of that move, guys. King f4, again, it's attacking the rook, but you had to look at it from a different point of view, Coach Kenny. Look at it. King f4. What you think about king f4? It looks normal infiltrating the position, but there's a lot of other ways because we can actually create a pass pawn with f4.
Yeah, f4. Yeah, king f4. The king is a little bit gets like kind of stuck over there. But f4, you're like forcing the rook to move, and then like after playing this move f4, the rook on g3 has to move somewhere, and then you're going to win the h3 pawn. So yeah,
Exactly. Well, both moves basically win the pawn move, but there's a variation after king f4. I mean, at the pawn F4, rook G2, rook takes H2, rook takes, and I'm forced to just stay in that position while I can just move my king all the way upside. But you know what? I like Matt's move as well too. King F4 actually is not as bad as the move as I was thinking, because you get the opposition on E3 and you can just infiltrate the position even faster, coach. So again, King F4 is not bad neither. It's both moves are good. It's subjective, but I think King F4 is the best possible move in this position. But all right, King F4, rook G. Oh, now it looks like a draw. It looks like a draw in this position.
Yeah.
Wow, sounds very fascinating. In this position, well, again, I'm assuming that someone lost on time because they don't give us a result here. But it was a very good and fascinating game, guys. Again, I feel very proud of the way that all you kids have made progress throughout our program. And again, you guys are playing again pretty good chess. The way that little trick, King F4, at first I thought I was like, wow, King F4 is bad. But looking at it twice, it's not bad. It's a great possible move on the board. Yo, so you see how this game can be mad tricky? This game is just
Yeah, and one move, the game could be different. You know, that's the thing about chess. It's like, you know, people say it's a game of life, and I agree. Like, you know, one little mistake in life can, give you a lot of consequences. So, and chess is the same way. You make one little weakness in your position from, move 5, you're going to have to deal with it for the next couple of moves, or, the entire game. So, chess is a very tricky game.
definitely. So nothing. Today basically what we did was we had the chance to analyze a couple of games, guys, and hopefully tomorrow we're gonna be more aware of the games, what's going on the games, and we're gonna be analyzing more games tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow I'm gonna be looking forward to analyzing all those games within the 1500 section and over 1,000. We're gonna have more time to just discuss, right, Coach Kenny? We're gonna have more time to just view those games. We're gonna do it a lot quicker, and hopefully I'm looking forward for tomorrow's stream, guys.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like Coach Alex was saying, we went into detail with the games that we went over, but it's a good thing because, we was able to really give you guys some detail about what to do, what not to do, some tricks that me and Coach Alex have in our games and our experience. And those are things that you can take away with you. So, we went into detail, which is a good thing. And we'll continue going over the games throughout the week. So hope everybody has a good night, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow.
All right, guys. See you then. All right.
All right. Thank you, Coach Alex. It was a pleasure.
Likewise, Coach Kenny. See you soon.
See ya.